Deep in the forests of Australia, where the land has been scarred by years of industrial pollution, something far more terrifying lurks. Campers who venture into this desolate wilderness soon learn that the toxic creek holds a deadly secret, one that threatens their very lives. A demonic kangaroo twisted by an unnatural force begins its hunt. Sheriff Maddie, burdened by the legacy of her late father, doesn't believe the wild tales of a zombie kangaroo until the body count rises. As the creature relentlessly hunts, Maddie and a ragtag group must face off against the unstoppable monster. But what is truly behind these killings? A haunting mystery unfolds in Rippy 2024, a film you won't want to miss. Watch till the end and leave your thoughts in the comments. The story starts in a forest in Australia, where companies like Torrent Mining have been polluting the land and water for years. The natural environment is heavily contaminated, but for a group of campers in the area, there's a far worse danger than the toxic creek. Something horrific happens in one of the campers' tents, and the person inside doesn't survive. Soon, it's revealed that the attacker is a strange, demonic kangaroo. Unaware of the gruesome events unfolding in the forest, Sheriff Matilda, Maddie, is going about her day. She's a dedicated officer who works hard to live up to her late father's legacy. Her father, Murray, was a local hero, a war veteran, a sports icon, and a well-loved police officer in their small town. Sheriff Matilda feels the weight of his reputation and strives to make him proud through her work. Meanwhile, in the forest, a hunter named Schmitty is out with his loyal dog, Ralphie. Schmitty senses an animal nearby and moves carefully, trying not to make any noise. He slowly gets into position and prepares to fire his weapon, completely unaware of the danger lurking in the shadows. The dog suddenly starts barking loudly and frantically, trying to alert Schmitty to something dangerous. However, Schmitty doesn't pay attention and keeps searching for his target. Out of nowhere, the situation changes. The hunter becomes the hunted. A terrifying creature attacks Schmitty. Despite his fear, Schmitty manages to fire his gun at the creature, hoping to protect himself. Meanwhile, Maddie is at the local pub, chatting with some of the townsfolk. Schmitty soon arrives, parking his van right in the middle of the street in a panic. He rushes in and begins telling Maddie about what just happened. He describes the attacker as a possessed kangaroo and says he's nicknamed it Rippy. Schmitty warns everyone that the creature is extremely dangerous, recounting how he shot it at close range. But it didn't go down. It stayed standing as if nothing happened. He's especially worried because his dog, Ralphie, is missing, and he fears this monster may have taken him. Maddie, however, doesn't take Schmitty seriously. She brushes off his wild story, telling him to move his van out of the road. Then she heads back into the pub to handle another issue, a fight between two drunk workers, Tim and Ricky. Both of them work for a local company, Torrent, and they've clearly had too much to drink. Even the presence of their supervisor, Dave, isn't enough to calm them down. Tim, who wears an eye patch, gets upset when Ricky starts mocking him by calling him a pirate. The argument heats up until Maddie steps in. Standing with her arms crossed and a stern look, she confronts them. Ricky, who's clearly lost his sense of respect, doesn't back down easily. Maddie, refusing to tolerate their behavior, grabs both of them and drags them outside. She takes their car keys, insisting they walk home to cool off. As they leave, grumbling, Maddie stays behind and chats with her Aunt Donna. Donna, who was once married to Schmitty, reacts with disbelief when Maddie tells her about Schmitty's claim of an immortal kangaroo. They both treat his story as just another sign of his declining mental state. To them, it's just one more strange and exaggerated tale from Schmitty, who is still far from home and seems increasingly out of touch with reality. Two rowdy men, Ricky and Tim, exchange playful taunts as they walk through the area. Suddenly, Ricky says he needs to use the bathroom. Tim shines his flashlight to help, but he becomes uneasy due to the unusual silence. The area, usually bustling with small animals, now feels eerily still. As Tim scans the bushes with the beam of light, he notices a pair of glowing eyes in the darkness. Fear grips him and Ricky tries to reassure him, saying it's probably just an animal. But before Ricky can finish his sentence, something lunges out of the shadows, attacking him with a loud, ferocious roar. Ricky is tackled and dragged away into the darkness. Tim is horrified and runs for his life. Despite his best efforts, the mysterious creature, a kangaroo, easily catches up to him. Alone in the desolate area, there's no one to hear Tim's desperate screams. The next day, Maddie, the sheriff, receives a call from Dave, who is waiting with Donna. Dave, concerned about his 2 missing employees, went searching for them, thinking they might have dozed off under a tree. However, what he found was far worse. He stumbled upon Tim's remains and, after searching the area further, discovered Ricky's body as well. Both men were brutally attacked. As Maddie examines the horrific scene, she admits she has never seen anything like it. Donna speculates that it could have been a pack of wolves or even a crocodile, but Maddie points out that wolves aren't found in this area, and they're too far from the water for crocodiles. Dave adds that whoever or whatever did this must have been incredibly strong, as both men were dragged around like they weighed nothing. Maddie theorizes that the men might have been hit by a vehicle and left for dead, making them easy prey for scavenging wildlife. Donna suggests calling an ambulance or the coroner, but Maddie explains that the location is too remote for emergency services to respond to a case involving dead bodies. Additionally, the coroner is already overwhelmed due to nearby wildfires. The grim situation takes a bizarre turn when Schmid, Donna's ex-husband, arrives at the scene. He laments that no one heeded his warnings, insisting that this must be the work of a zombie kangaroo. Donna, furious at his insensitivity, reminds him that 2 men have died, and this is no time for foolish theories. Maddie, frustrated, asks Schmid why he's even there. Schmid explains that he's still searching for his missing dog. Before leaving, he tries to point out strange marks on the ground, but Maddie dismisses him, focused on the task at hand. Later, a funeral agent arrives to assist Maddie, going far beyond his usual duties. He examines the bodies, but admits he can't determine what kind of creature caused such extensive damage. He does, however, point out a strange bite mark on Ricky's neck. Maddie then gets a call from a colleague who shares unsettling information about Reuben Williams, a new employee in the area. Reuben has a long criminal record, adding another layer of mystery to the gruesome events. After a few smaller crimes are mentioned, the sheriff brings up a more serious case involving fatalities. Concerned, she calls Dave to explain the situation, warning him that she plans to question the suspect. When she arrives at the mining company, she immediately notices Reuben's large size and becomes suspicious. She asks him where he was the night before. Reuben refuses to answer and asks for a lawyer, which only deepens the sheriff's belief that he is guilty. Later at a local pub, the news has already spread through the town. An elderly woman shares that she has forbidden her son from jogging at night until the case is solved. Confident the danger has passed, Maddie assures the townsfolk that the culprit is in custody. She even encourages Troy to focus on his training, hoping he can bring a trophy back for the town. Excited, Troy resumes his training that very night. However, the small light from his headlamp is no match for the sharp teeth of the monster lurking along his running trail. As Troy runs, he hears terrifying screeches from the creature. Fear takes over, and his steady jogging quickly turns into a desperate sprint for survival. At home, his mother is calmly setting the dinner table when the peaceful evening is shattered by a horrifying scream echoing in the distance. Meanwhile, Maddie is at home flipping through old photo albums and remembering her father. She comes across newspaper clippings about how he heroically sacrificed his life to save her from drowning in a creek. Her nostalgic moment is interrupted by a frantic call from Troy's mother. She's panicking because Troy hasn't come back from his run, which is unusual for him. When Maddie rushes over to help, she finds Troy's mother in tears. She has found her son. The heartbreaking sight leaves Maddie feeling crushed. Troy's mother lashes out, blaming Maddie for allowing night training and promising the runners would be safe. Maddie is overwhelmed with guilt. Later, Donna tries to console Maddie. Together, they revisit Schmidt's earlier account of strange events. They begin to wonder if his imagination exaggerated what he saw, or if there really was some kind of wild animal out there. Maddie confesses that she noticed unusual tracks near the area where Troy was found. The tracks match kangaroo footprints, which adds a strange twist to the story. Determined to uncover the truth, Maddie decides to visit Schmidt at his trailer. When she arrives, he apologizes for the mess and explains that he still hasn't found his dog, Ralphie. Maddie then shares the tragic news about Troy. Schmidt, to her surprise, responds with an unexpected depth of wisdom, leaving Maddie even more determined to piece together what's really happening. Schmidt tries to comfort the sheriff, saying that the weight of the uniform uniform she wears comes with tough responsibilities. Maddie informs everyone that a group will set out early in the morning to track down the suspected monster kangaroo. Schmitty, eager to help, happily agrees to join the hunt. The next morning, he shows up fully prepared with gear to face the dangerous predator. The group consists of volunteers, mostly employees of Torrent, the company linked to the mysterious events. Dave, one of the older employees, also volunteers, saying it's his duty to protect the younger members. Donna, determined to help despite her discomfort, insists on joining, even though her ex-husband Dave is part of the team. The team splits into groups. Dave and his volunteers head in one direction by jeep, while Maddie leads another group with Donna and Schmitty to cover the opposite area. By mid-afternoon, Maddie starts to feel frustrated as they find no signs of the creature. To lighten the mood, she and Donna laugh at Schmitty's loud snoring until he wakes up and tries to explain himself. As the day gets darker, Maddie decides they'll make one final stop before heading back to the meeting point. While walking, they approach a camping site, and Schmitty casually mentions that it's near the spot where Murray, a previous victim, had died. This makes the atmosphere tense. The group suddenly hears something moving nearby. They split up to investigate, and Maddie stumbles upon a damaged tent, hinting at a violent attack. Meanwhile, Dave's group begins heading back when one of the volunteers spots an animal and fires a shot. They rush to check the target and find a dead cow with a large wound in its belly. One of the team members swears it was moving before he shot it, but Jenny, another volunteer, doubts him. Dave grows anxious and orders everyone to stay silent and turn off their flashlights. He admits he isn't afraid of what they've seen, but rather of what might be watching them. To increase their chances of success, he splits the group, instructing everyone to search in different directions and call out if they find anything. Back at the contaminated creek, Maddie, Schmitty, and Donna notice the strong, foul smell of the water. Schmitty claims it reeks like the beast they're hunting, and Donna suggests that it might be related to chemical leaks from Torrent. At the same time, chaos erupts in Dave's group. One of the volunteers is suddenly attacked by the mutant kangaroo. The others rush to his aid, only to witness the horrifying scene of the kangaroo devouring their colleague. Jenny fires at the creature, but the bullets have no effect. The kangaroo attacks another man, leaving Jenny with no option but to flee in terror. Dave remains near the jeep when Jenny appears, running for her life. The mutant kangaroo, fast and relentless, chases her. It catches up to Jenny, bringing her down and killing her. Despite all his talk about protecting the younger generation, Dave panics and abandons Jenny, jumping into the jeep to save himself. As he drives away, the kangaroo attacks the jeep, causing it to crash. Maddie, Donna, and Schmitty hear the commotion and rush to the scene, only to find the overturned vehicle. Dave, barely alive, lies near the wreckage. Maddie tries to save him, but Donna realizes there's no hope. Helpless and distressed, the group faces the grim reality of their situation. The sheriff is feeling deeply sad as she sits in her car, thinking about her father and the tragic day she lost him. She confides in her aunt, saying that everyone she loves seems to meet a tragic end, and she feels powerless to save anyone. At that moment, Schmitty, her companion, decides it's time to tell her the truth about what happened to Murray. He explains that Murray's death wasn't her fault. He had been drunk, fell, and hit his head on a rock before entering the lake. Maddie, however, refuses to believe this and insists that Murray saved her life. Schmitty reminds her that she's always been a strong swimmer and that there was never any real danger, but people in the town created a heroic story because they wanted to see her as a savior. This truth angers Donna, the sheriff's aunt, who thinks Schmitty shouldn't have shared it. She wants Maddie to remember Murray in a better light. However, there's no time to argue because a zombie kangaroo suddenly appears at the car window. Schmitty quickly tells everyone to stay quiet and still, hoping the creature won't notice them inside. The kangaroo begins slamming into the car violently. Maddie wants to drive away, but Schmitty warns her that moving would make things worse. As they are trying to decide their next move, the kangaroo's head bursts through the back window. Maddie grabs her gun and shoots several times, forcing the creature to back off. For a moment, it even seems to fall, giving Maddie a chance to hit the gas and drive off. But soon, she sees in the rearview mirror that the creature is already getting back up. Its resilience is terrifying. Maddie panics and loses control of the car, crashing into a tree. Schmitty announces he'll check the area while the others stay put. Maddie is still upset over the truth about her father and begins to cry, apologizing when Schmitty returns. The sheriff admits that this kangaroo is unlike anything she has seen. It's impossible to kill. She realizes the town must be warned about the deadly creature. The group decides to head to Schmitty's trailer on foot, staying cautious and scanning the area with flashlights. When they arrive at his modest home, Donna feels awkward seeing her old photo still framed in his house. Schmitty confesses he still thinks about her, but Donna brushes him off, saying it's too late to revisit the past. She points out that during their time together, he never opened up about his struggles and always seemed to be chasing danger and excitement. Schmitty surprises her by admitting that their divorce was the worst thing that ever happened to him. His heartfelt words make Donna realize that he's always cared for her, but his self-doubt held him back. She starts to soften, and the two share a tender moment. Meanwhile, Maddie goes outside to restart the generator. While making her way through the darkness, she hears her dog Ralphie barking and is overjoyed to find him alive. Once she gets the generator running, lights flood the trailer. Donna uses the radio to call for help, and Maddie retrieves a battery for the equipment. On her way back, she notices a goat tied up nearby, bleeding heavily. As Donna contacts someone who promises to send patrol cars, Maddie realizes the kangaroo is close by. Its presence is confirmed when the goat begins bleeding in fear. Maddie rushes back to warn the others just as the creature reappears. Schmitty starts the van and Maddie jumps inside, shooting at the kangaroo while they drive away. When they reach the town pub, the trio warns the townspeople about the creature. They explain that several people have already died, and the kangaroo is a dangerous and seemingly unstoppable monster. At that moment, the beast is already making its way to the town. Schmitty is outside the pub when he spots the kangaroo approaching in the darkness. He yells for everyone to get inside and lock the doors. The patrons quickly begin barricading the entrances with furniture. Just as they feel a bit safer, a lone police officer Stan arrives. Maddie recognizes him and realizes he doesn't understand the danger. She shouts at him to stay in his car, but he doesn't hear her. Tragically, the kangaroo attacks Stan before he can react, killing him in front of everyone. The horrifying scene leaves no doubt about the creature's threat. It begins ramming the front door of the pub, causing panic among the patrons. Schmitty directs everyone to take cover in the basement, including Maddie's dog, Ralphie. Maddie, however, stays upstairs, sitting quietly by the counter. Donna is concerned, thinking Maddie has lost her will to fight. Maddie begins talking about her father again, saying she feels like she's been trying to repay a debt that doesn't exist. Donna tells her that the lie about her father's heroics was a mistake and encourages her to stop punishing herself. When the kangaroo finally breaks through the barricade, Maddie and Schmitty try to fight it. Maddie shoots the creature, hitting one of its eyes. Donna creates a distraction by ringing a bell, giving Schmitty the chance to hand Maddie an axe. With determination, Maddie strikes the kangaroo repeatedly, eventually taking out its other eye. As the monster collapses, the townspeople emerge from the basement. Ralphie sniffs the lifeless body to confirm it's truly dead. The next day, the group learns that the zombie kangaroo's victims have started turning into undead creatures, creating a new threat for the survivors. Thanks for watching.